What's going on, guys? My name is Jessica Lane McDonald, and I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Hardly Initiated. Listen, guys, I am so excited for today's conversation because in the dating world, there are a lot of women that are told that they are too outgoing or too this or too that, and a lot of men are told that they are too immature and all of these things. But when do we start to come together and really meet in the middle? I'm super excited about today's conversation, as well as our guest. He is a licensed psychologist and ordained minister. He is my Morehouse brother, Dr. Al Duan-Tart. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Jessica. You're my Spelman sister, so I'm glad to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. Especially because in the dating world, right, there are so many things that I feel like it's a disconnect between women and men. And I feel like if we were all to just get on the same page, life will go a little bit better.
For
Okay.
sure.
What are one of the most prominent issues that you see when it comes to the dating world?
One, there's not enough attention on happily married couples. All right. So we grew up, we watched The Cosby Show. We had examples of, especially African American marriages that worked. That is gone in social media, right? Most happily married couples are not on social media, and a lot of times for good reason. And you'll see the Kadeen and Duvall, you'll see that, but you don't see very much material on social media about happily married couples. And because of that, and because you see mostly negative, it's called vicarious trauma. They've seen Pop the Balloon. They've seen friends, they've seen their fathers, they've seen their grandfathers go through negative relationships. And so there are a lot of men who are actually hesitant towards marriage, all right, even though it's not their personal experience. They just don't want to get into it, right? But what we know, if we start talking about what's best for men, married men are happier, healthier, and wealthier overall. And so when you start talking about African Americans, they just don't know that, right? And they don't have the experience of that to compare it. And then a lot of times they're in denial about, well, what does my life look like at 35, 45, 55? And so they get older, and what you find is a lot of men will marry older, and it's because they realize I wasn't intentional and I didn't know the benefits of marriage before I got into it. I thought it was all negative.
That's so interesting you say that because I've never thought about it from that perspective before. Do you feel like that's somewhat by design?
Oh, for sure. For sure. They're going to promote. You set your hair on fire. What's that, Don King? People will watch. But it's also an opportunity for psychologists and churches and influencers to step up to be able to show that, to program that. We underestimated how important Blackish, everybody hates Chris, The Cosby Show, that we had that Sunday dinner with family. In each one of those shows, they had intentional time where they would show the entire family for a reason. And when those shows, stopped, nothing replaced them. Now, there's shows here and there, but for the most part, that's not mainstream. And when we make those mainstream, it will change the perception of marriage and family.
Yeah, for sure. Why do you think that these shows, because I feel it, I 100% agree with you, but it's like the world craves negativity now. It's like we lean into the drama, we lean into all of these things. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's just human nature. It can't be boring. You
Yeah,
can build. The Cosby Show was interesting. Different World was
it
interesting.
was.
Blackish was interesting.
Yeah.
You can build. If we're talking about media, you can build in great storylines and plots. And I think that's the right now. I'm not gonna even say it's the future, right? You have to build in, of course, the drama of marriage, but the goal is to be able to show how married couples overcome that without it being cheesy or without it being corny. Because otherwise, we're going to suffer as a people, especially economically. Our marriage rates are in the 20s now, projected to go into the teens in the next 10 years, according to Dr. George Fraser. And so psychologists are now figuring out how do we change the way people think, the mindset, but also the tools to be able to succeed, not only in marriage, but succeed in dating so that you can have a positive perspective and have better relationships. And then the marriage rate will go up.
So let's go a little bit into dating because we often hear about the woman having it all, right? But oftentimes it's like a woman's achievement can somewhat hinder her when it comes to dating. Why do you think that is?
Well, it depends on the type of man you're talking about, right? So let's depends on how you were raised, all right? So there are households where you look for excuse the language, I'm talking about me too, stock. What kind of stock do they come from, right? I'm not talking about my folks from Alabama, y'all, right? Stock, right? Like who are their people? All right, and so you have to find the right type of woman, right type of man to fit your family. So for me, I'm not interested in someone who's not highly intelligent, who's not godly, who doesn't have great character, who doesn't have motion. I don't want my wife to not have a life. That's attractive. That's attractive.
Yeah.
That part's not seen
Yeah.
on social media.
Yeah.
I have a cousin who used to play for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he was saying that when he was thinking of a wife, he was thinking about the characteristics. He was like, all right, yeah, she's athletic, she's smart, she'd be a great mother, she fits the mold of our family, and our family comes a long line of very strong women. My mom is a doctor, my brother's a doctor, I'm a doctor. Women in our women in our family,
I love
very,
the generational one.
very
Yes.
bright. You can't
Yes.
be in our family and not be strong. It's just not gonna work.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of men that absolutely look for a woman with talent, and if she does well, then he just has to either change his identity as a husband or he has to level up his game. But he has to have a level of security that no matter how great she's doing, he's just there in support position. Now, the second thing is things have changed. Men are no longer the breadwinners, and it's only going to be more dramatic. That's not just black men. That's across the country. That's the whole push against.
Why do you think that is?
One, let's look at who's going to college. Our oldest daughter is at Howard. What's the ratio? 12-1. And then some of those brothers are not into women, right? And so that's not an outlet for. That's not someone she can date, right? And so that's not someone she can marry. So all those degrees, Jessica, all right, compared to no degrees. And then there's no formal training system for men that don't go to college to be able to level up. Like Earn Your Leisure is doing a lot in teaching men, okay, you want to get into these different areas. This is the way you take your money and be able to multiply it. But before then, what do we have, right? And even now, how structured is it? How does a man level up? Okay, you're competing against women getting their law degrees, getting their doctorate degrees, getting their marketing degrees, business degrees at 12-1 ratio. All right, and so when they're dating, especially African Americans, and men in general, identity is tied around provisions,
Yes.
financial provisions. So how does a man feel secure dating a woman who's doing so much more, especially now? That women are requiring a man to have emotional intelligence. Men didn't used to have that. They could just provide. So there's a cultural shift to where we now have to teach men how to be emotionally present, to be able to fill in that gap, especially with the income difference. So, matter of fact, it's so bad that it's a leading researcher, his name is Dr. John Gottman. He came out and said we have to start teaching boys starting in 6th grade how to have emotional intelligence if we want to raise the marriage rate, because they're just not able to succeed in relationships.
Absolutely. Okay, so you just said a lot, and I want to unpack a couple of them. Okay, so first off, I want to back up a little bit because yes, there are a lot of men that want the woman to come to the table with a lot, but there's a whole another category of men that are extremely successful that do get intimidated by women who are highly successful also. So then it puts this emphasis on, and I don't want to prejudge, but I'm saying I'm gonna speak from a couple of friends that I do have. Okay, because obviously every shoe does not fit everyone. But I'm gonna speak from a couple of friends that I have that are extremely successful Spelman women that have it all, that find trouble dating because there are a lot of men that are intimidated by the amount of success that they have. And as you mentioned, to your point, women are out earning men. So how is it that men are secure enough with themselves to be comfortable with their women earning more on one hand, but then also, how does a woman that does want that provision sit back, but also not, I don't want to say be condescending to her man because she does have more than him?
This is where we are, Jessica. All right, so one, positioning. So if you're single and You want to find the best available men that you would date. People underestimate positioning. All right. So look at Ruth. All right. Ruth was counseled by Naomi on how to position herself around Boaz.
Come on.
All right. So she had to come out of mourning. So Naomi said, take off those black clothes, put on something colorful, right? Put on some perfume, right? Go to the threshing floor, right? That's where the men with business were talking about wine, right? That's where Boaz and men like Boaz were. Then she laid at the feet of Boaz and uncovered his feet. Now, culturally, that was telling Boaz, you can take a shot. You can pursue, because any kinsman of her husband could have. It was inappropriate for him to be assertive with Ruth before then. That positioning needs to be modern. Is that if you want to be around godly men who are not going to be intimidated by your success, you need to be around those men. So you need to be with those men, congregate. Those men are out there. You can't move up. Your network is your net worth. So if you're looking for a man of God, I would be at like any financial conference in ministry. Seed with TD Jakes, anything with Lee Jenkins here. Be around Made Men with Darius Daniels here in Atlanta. Those men are at the retreat here in Atlanta. Shout out to Ryan Hill. Those men are at the gathering spot. Those men are at all the different spots. All right. The same people. You would position yourself. If you're a woman of stature and you do not want income to be an issue, you're going to look for a man who either has it, or you're going to look for a man who is ambitious and will build it. Right. So if we start talking about like marriage, Ecclesiastes 4 verse 9 and 10 says 2 is better than 1, but they get better return for their labor. One falls down, the other pick each other up. If we're sitting down and we're combining income, what does it matter? Who contributes what, right? It just depends on that couple. And what we're finding in modern day marriages, these are the conversations that are happening as men adjust. So I'll just be transparent, right? My wife said, baby, I'm up for promotion. I said, how much does it pay? She told me. I said, oh, take it. She was like, you don't want any details? I said, no, I don't need any details. That number, that's amazing, right? And then I look up a couple months, I said, how are you going to go out of town? She says, what part of regional sales did you not hear? I was like, I heard it. I don't know what I was thinking, right? So we had to adjust. So because I work for
myself. The 4-year-old.
Listen, because I work for myself, my schedule's flexible, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm taking the kids I'm always taking the kids to school, but no, I'm always taking the kids to school. If they forget something for lunch, I'm taking them up. If our oldest daughter has an event at Howard or something, she's in debate, I'm the one flying up there. And so we are adjusting based on that particular, work schedule. So for women, it's positioning, but it's also, there's a new article out that men have changed their roles in families, especially black men. Black men are more present than their kids than ever before. All right. According to the research, black men are more present than any other ethnicity. That didn't used to be the case. So they're black. I'm not the only one. This is when I'm out at soccer, it's dads. When I'm at the zoo, it's dads. And when I'm at Dads for Donuts for our daughter, it's dads. Or I'm at PTA meeting, it's dads.
Yeah.
I'm in the drop-off line, it's like a bro friend. Hey, what's up, bro? Right? Because women are in the workforce.
Yeah.
And so you have to take on a lot of the family responsibility, and men are enjoying it. So you're managing business and you're managing family. And then for me, I'm also managing, aging adults. Right? And so you're just flowing in a different world. And so people don't see that. They don't think that it's manly to be able to do that. But the men who are doing it, that is exactly what they're doing. They're finding a way to manage business and family at the same time.
So you mentioned positioning yourself. In regards to positioning yourself, right? You've talked about 9 traits that men specifically look for when it comes to women, okay, in your book. All right. What are the top 3 that women underestimate?
Having a life. Men don't pursue a woman who's not in movement. They want you to have a life. They want I know this, Christian podcast, but you remember Chris Brown when he was doing that video? I can't remember what it was in the part where he's chasing a girl. Whole time in the video, she's not stopping. She is walking the whole time. He's singing, trying to get her attention. All right. Men are attracted to women who are in pursuit of something. A woman that has some business, because they're saying, "Wow, my mom's gonna like her." 2, she's a challenge. All right. So 3, she's unimpressed by me. So I have to work hard to attain her. So her value is higher because she's not sitting and looking at me like I'm the prize.
Right.
He who finds a wife finds
a good thing
and
Come
gains
on,
favor
from the Lord.
So if she is someone that can allow me to gain favor because she's not only good before she meets me, but good for me and my favor and my legacy, she needs to walk as such.
Come on, her lamp does not go out at night.
So we are not the prize.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Say that one more time.
We're not the prize. We are valuable. For my brothers out there, we are valuable and more respect needs to be put on our name, but we're not the prize. There's no reverse scripture that says the opposite about husbands, right? So we start talking about Proverbs 31, women, right? And this is what married men all say, almost the same thing. I just want to thank you for this award, but if it weren't for my wife, I would not be up here. You've heard Obama say that. You've heard LeBron say that. And this is what married men know that need to communicate to single men. Now, you need to pick a good wife. It does not say a wife.
Yeah.
A good wife.
Absolutely.
If she's a good wife, you need to listen to her because God will speak to your wife about moves you need to make. And if you're not going to listen to a good thing, how are you going to gain favor?
Come on.
And so men have not heard that. They think, I'm supposed to dominate. Good luck with that. My wife from Inglewood, too. Good luck with that. It's better to work as partners.
Absolutely.
That's the goal. That's the goal. So 1, have a life. 2, tell me how you feel about this. I believe women should make the first move.
Wow.
What? First move.
Why do you say that?
Well, 1, my wife and I host a marriage retreat called A Weekend for Love. And so we interview couples all the time. We hear them. I just officiated a wedding in Piedmont Park on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Premarital counseling. What I hear with couples who meet is they all do what Ruth did. They all make the first move, all right? So the first move could be a smile. It could be, hey, everyone seems to know you. Who, Michael, who are you? Why is everyone coming up to you? I haven't met you. Or they're intentional. Could you hold this? Let's say they're at a bar eating dinner. Could you hold this for a second? Or, hey, you said something during say it's even on LinkedIn. You said something about stocks. I didn't really understand. Could you break that? Now, she a whole stockbroker, right? But it's positioning to signal to men that you can pursue. Right. And so women have not seen that. And so what happens is you can be positioned.
Yeah.
But a woman who knows how to work a room, she's going to walk out like, what shortage of men? Right. Like I'm in a lot of political circles just for fundraisers and whatnot. And I watch.
Yeah.
You can get any eligible great man you want if you know how to lobby. And there's different ways. You can do that at the gym. You could do that anywhere. That travels.
Yeah.
But women, don't know that. And then 3, challenging a man up front and saying, hey, if you want my time, let's make sure that we're aligned, right? This is where I'm going. Where are you going? There's no need for us to really, start a relationship if we're not going in the same direction.
Yes.
A man of purpose actually likes that.
Yes.
Because he feels like if you're talking to everyone like this, I know you're not talking to other guys. Because if you're requiring my attention, you're asking me what my intentions are up front.
She does not want to waste her time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, men like that. Men like a woman of purpose. They're looking at a wife. This is someone you have to take to mom and grandma. This is someone that you want to teach your sons and daughters when it comes to that, those sets of morals. So I don't think married women know that, but I don't think enough single women know that.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of men, if they could just be signaled, they would pursue a lot more. They don't know that you like them because they assume an attractive woman with some energy already is in a relationship.
Is that it?
Because how many times?
Because
why are you single? I can't believe that you're single. Tell me why you're single. You're doing the same thing. right? You're doing
Yeah.
the same thing. So they assume. And then men have been conditioned not to pursue. That is something, my generation, when I went to Morehouse, I'll tell a quick story. We went, I don't remember the name of the club. Maybe it was Compound. I don't know, whatever it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to the bathroom.
Compound, you took it back.
I took it back,
Okay.
show my age.
On the east
I went
side.
to the back. I'm from Decatur, where it's great. I went to the
Okay.
bathroom, came back. All the women I would have talked to, all my boys were talking to them. I was like, man, I can't even go to the bathroom without you being in their mouth, right? Being up in their face. Back in the day, you had to be assertive. Well, that has changed now. That is not modern day. That's not what happens on college campuses. It's just a difference. So now men need to be signaled that it could be a smile. It could just be a random question. During the lecture, you said this. Could you explain that to me? That's all men need. It's just a signal. And then more women would date.
That is so interesting.
Because what you see is they look at each other. You ever been someplace and they look?
Yeah.
They just look at each other. They're just looking and
Yeah.
no one's approaching. But the woman that knows how to work a room, oh, she's going to come up every single time.
That is so interesting to me because as a woman, I would think that, I mean, I understand you're saying that a lot of men is like, why are you single? But I would think that a man has no confidence if he doesn't have the ability to approach. So it's like, I feel like women are in their heads and men are in their heads
Right.
also. And then that's when backs are turned towards each other opposed to coming together, because I would totally think that.
Right, right. So I mean, there are men who are going to approach, but that's not how our fathers and grandfathers met. They met via vibe. There were more men in college, right? My parents met because my dad sat behind my mom at Tuskegee, and he would kick off her sandal because she would kick her. He would, click her sandal. It was annoying to him, so he would kick it off during the lecture, right? And then she was like, finally, she turned around. He was like, I was gonna kick it off until, you gave me your phone number,
Come
right?
on.
Vibe. Proximity.
Proximity.
They were in college. They were in the factory. They went to the same gym. They were at a card party playing cards. So there are a lot of men, if you signal, that have a lot of assertiveness. They're just not the type to come over to the table and buy all of you drinks. They're not the type to say, excuse me, while you're talking to 5 girlfriends,
Yeah.
can I get your attention?
Yeah, of
But if you
course.
put them in, and that's the other thing, we don't have the same proximity. Where do people go to meet naturally now? We're all on our phones. We're all on social media. So unless you're at like InvestFest, unless you're at Essence Fest,
Yeah.
unless you're at Waymakers, unless you're in these environments, it's going to be tough. So if you put them in a room and you just smile, most men will approach. Definitely with conversation.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about this. I've never been. There's an organization, I'll tell them, why are you not a part of Black Chamber of Commerce? I'm like, I want to meet a man. Are you part of Black Chamber of Commerce? No. Are you part of Black MBA? No. Okay. Where do you work out? I'm not gonna say the gym. I don't say anything negative. But why are you not at Lifetime Fitness? That's where all the men work out. Why are you not at Crunch? I mean, not at Crunch, but why are you not at Floyd Mayweather before they close? Why are you not at CrossFit? That's where men work out.
Yeah.
Why are you not there?
This is so good.
Men are there. Men are at the retreat on Friday and Saturday night. Men are at the Commerce Club. Men are at the Buckhead Club. How are you a woman of prominence and you don't know where men are? Now, I don't smoke, but why are you not at the cigar lounge? That's where men are. Why are you not at the conference of men, leadership in the church? Mostly men, right? Walk up in there, men still see you. So it's being able to work a room, introduce yourself, and you'll find that you have 3 or 4 men competing. Because while men will say they can find eye candy, men are not saying that wives are in abundant supply. You won't meet one man. So the men who are single, they're complaining. This is the first time that I go out
Yeah.
and men will see me on the podcast. It's the first time that men come up to me like, bro, I'm trying to get took. I'm using slang. You got to hook me up. And my average client now is even between men and women. And at first I was like, what? But now when I started watching, I was like, this is a very different world. Women don't come up and make it easy for you to have a conversation.
Wow.
So we get back to vibe and proximity and just having fun together and connecting. More marriages, at least relationships will happen.
Wow. That's so
If women knew they
interesting.
had the power, listen, your husband will tell you, the woman at the waitress at the restaurant to give you an extra peppermint, you wonder, does she like me? Because men are not even, the average man is not spoken to by women during the day. They're not spoken.
Wow.
Women are on their phones. They're looking straight, even if it's in a work environment. The women that are there are not flirting. They're focusing on business, right?
Yeah.
So men are not spoken to. The average man does not have direct eye contact in 15 seconds of conversation with women. So the woman that understands that just gives them, I'm not saying, hey, how you doing? You look nice. I don't mean that kind of move. You can do that. That works
Yeah.
for certain men. But if you're just saying, hey, this is my first time. What other spot should I connect in the city? I like this spot.
Open the conversation.
That's it.
Open the door.
That's it.
Wow. Okay, this is so good. I know I asked for 3, but I actually want 2 more because it's literally been that good.
Okay. All right.
2 more characteristics.
2 more characteristics. They're looking for a woman who has high values. All right, so let's just talk about sex. Now, you do want your man to be sexually attracted to you. Okay, that is, men are visual. That's going to be the first piece. A man is going to be visual chemistry. All right, but after that, it's going to be, are you high value? And so men that pursue a woman that's like, she's able to walk the line between her femininity and her sensuality as a woman, right? But also combine that with high standards, all right? Men are looking for relationships. Men are looking for marriage, are looking for the combination of both. So hard to get, hard to quit. Easy come, easy go. Men are looking for that. And I was surprised by that. Now, I'm not Greek, and I don't have anything against anyone who's being Greek, but I have brothers who are cap. They can get athletes. And when they met a woman of substance, they were like, look, I need to figure out how to abstain. I was saying, excuse me, what did you say? They're like, yeah, I'm not trying to mess up my blessings.
Good thing.
I haven't found a woman like this. And this is the first time I've been asked to do this. And I've made mistakes. I know sex is not the roadway towards marriage.
Yeah.
I just need to know how people are doing this. All right. Invite me out to the men's group. I want to talk to married brothers. I want to actually figure out how to do this. But as I do premarital, you'd be surprised. I would say probably 75 to 80% of men do that. Either they're doing a celibacy or they're practicing. We messed up last night.
That is
I'm trying to extend it 30 more days. They are trying because they do not want a relationship, a marriage, all right, based on just sex.
That is so good.
And so the woman is the driver because she's telling him something he already believes, something he wants his daughters to practice, something his sisters and aunts and mother and grandmother all agree with.
Yeah.
Right? And even men, you're going to miss out on the one because of sex? That's not even in the top 10 needs of married men. That's not even top 10. They assume that's going to be great. You can have that anywhere.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You know? And then I'd say, let's see, the other one. This is really interesting. I see men liking women who have some business savvy about themselves. They want to be able to sit down and build legacy. So you're talking about a driven brother. He wants to be able to sit down with a sister who's either equally yoked or has a greater skill set and be able to build and be able to grow and build together.
It's the mind.
It's the mind.
It's the mind.
It's the mind.
This is so good because it's so adverse to mainstream.
It's not adverse to mainstream reality. It
Just
is in real life.
Media.
Yeah, right. So the average, so think about it. What husband doesn't say, oh, I don't know, ask my wife about that. Or, hey, my wife, I don't know, my wife runs that part of the company. I don't know. My wife doesn't want to do the deal. I don't get it. Right? How many men turn over their finances to their wife if she has a particular expertise? Hey, babe, we need to get life insurance. All right, why? Well, because it's okay. Well, let's do it. Hey, babe, we need to be able to. You need to be home more, and we need to have time affluence. And you're working too hard. You've been a mechanic your whole life, and it's just. Let's just get into strategy. Okay, so you have a husband, and you see he needs to move. And the average woman, no matter how much money, does not want to be the breadwinner. She wants the option to be the breadwinner. If I want the option to work. This came out in the data. So Oprah wants the option to work. Don't ever tell me what to do, but if I had the option to work, that's great. That's not my identity as a woman. I love what I'm doing, all right? And so you have a man, and you want him to be that breadwinner, all right? you would simply introduce him to certain rooms. You would put him in certain rooms. All right. And so that man is listening. And so that man is like, okay, if she puts me in certain rooms, I need to be open to that. I need to be open to real estate. I need to be open to buying a service-based business.
Yeah.
All right. And she's just strategic. And then he's able to level up to the point where she's comfortable. Men are okay with that. Men like that conversation. And the average woman that understands that, they can negotiate those roles. But there are also households where men don't define themselves by money. They need to make enough, all right? But they understand, hey, my role is not defined by that. My role is defined by something else. So I'm okay. I'm good.
Yeah. So that's so interesting. Okay, so I want to run it back just a little bit because on your second point that you mentioned, you talked about a woman knowing what she wants. But sometimes men can be intimidated by like an interview energy, right?
Yep.
What do you think that looks like?
I feel my brother's on that one. Who wants to be interviewed? So
what is the thin line between telling a man what you want so that she does not waste time and then interview energy?
All right, so an interview, we feel like Ken in your Barbie world. All right, so if anything comes out about what you do, I can tell you the average man is eliminating you. All right, because you're looking for what I can provide in your world, right? And it feels like you're interviewing me to tell a great story to your girlfriends. Right? So I can be eliminated before you know my soul, before you know my spirit, before you know who I am.
Come on.
You're eliminating me based upon the dollar amount that I make. You're trying to figure out what car I drive, what part of town do you live in. Men see through all of these questions, right? Now, granted, you need to ask these questions, but a wife, you know,
strategic.
What a man sees do you like me?
Yeah.
All right. Do you like me? See, I'm here because I like you, right?
But
I'm not interviewing you the same way you're interviewing me, right? Whether you're a school teacher or a banker, I like you. I'm going to go out with the woman I like the best. Do I care about going on vacations in Bali? No, you do. I'm happy going to Hilton Head. But because I like you, I'll go to Bali. But if you like me, will you come to the Cheesecake Factory with me? Right? If we're not going to Little Alley Steak, I get you like Little Alley Steak. I get it. It's better than Cheesecake Factory. But if you like me, can you be happy at Cheesecake because you like me?
So let me ask you a question before you get to that part though, because a lot of women don't know if they like a person because they haven't spent enough time with the person to know. So before she even goes through the stage of that, I do feel like, and that's why this conversation is so interesting. When you just said that the question that a woman asks is, what do you do? And that will almost immediately eliminate her to a man. That's so interesting because I do feel like that's one of the first questions that a woman has.
Well, ask it in a different way.
Strategy.
What do you enjoy about what you do? Oh, snap. Well, now you're asking me, what do I enjoy about what I do? I love talking to people. You know, I love mixing in, faith and psychology. I really love helping people. I love transforming. I like to see the transformation happen in an hour.
Yeah.
I like to see people come in one way and leave another. Woman, what do you mean leave in another way? Oh, now you into what I'm actually saying.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Well, how did you get into it? Well, you know what? My whole family are healers, but it was a high school career day that a psychologist came in, Dr. Carter at Morehouse, and I said, I didn't know that was a real job. Never heard of that. Now she's like, what was it that Dr. Carter said? See, now you're into me. Men don't have a problem talking about what we do. If I'm a pilot, don't ask me where and, where have I flown internationally. But ask me who got me into flying. Was it scary the first time?
Yeah.
Be into me. So if you come in trying to get to know the person, yes, you need to, I have 2 daughters. I want to know, I'm going to ask them to know about the guy, but not interviewing him to where it's all about finances or what fits your superficial list. get to know him intentionally from a spiritual and deep level, and you have that brother calling you, because no one's taught me like that.
Yeah.
Men of affluence will actually understate their wealth.
Wow.
They won't.
Yeah.
What do
They're
you
not
do?
gonna
I just
say
do
it
a
up.
little business here or that.
They're not even
They
gonna
will
say
be
it up.
very
Yes.
evasive.
Yes.
All right, because I'm not sure what you're here for. But the woman
Yeah.
who's into him, and even the man who sees this woman as a challenge, is already thinking of ways to level up to be impressive to her. That's why a lot of men delay on getting the wedding ring. They're like, there's a special way, not only in which I want the ring to look for her, but also there's a certain lifestyle I want to create for her.
Okay.
Because
So
I love her, I like her, but I don't want to lose this woman because I'm intimidated. I am going to be more open to how to provide a lifestyle that this type of woman who appreciates me, but at the same time, and every man tell you, if I lost it all, she'll still be with me.
So let me ask you this, because I want to lean into that real quick, because I do have a friend that is literally dealing with something to this effect right now.
Okay.
Specifically, when you said that a man will hold off on a ring because he wants to provide a certain amount or a certain type of lifestyle first. Sometimes it could be a turn off to a woman that's been dating a man for a particular amount of time, and it seems like he just keeps dragging things on, and he says, I just want to get stuff in order first. But for a woman that is a ride or die, okay, well, why do you have to wait for a ring? Like, why do you have to wait on commitment for that? Because I'm right here and I'm clearly building this with you anyway.
All right, so you could be talking about a couple of different things. You could have a guy who's hiding insecurities or hiding hesitancy to get married. He does not think that he is good at marriage. He's like, ooh, I don't know if I'll be good at marriage, or I want us to stay together. But marriage, that's for real. One, every man goes through this. Am I ready to be great at marriage? Come on now, be real. All right, am I ready to be am I ready to be great at marriage, or do you need to do some self-work? Number two, do I have the provisions so that I like the way I show up beside her? It's not her. Do I like how I position myself, right? I'll talk about one of my favorite people on the planet. I only met her once, Keke Palmer, all right? So when I move heavily into the podcast space, Keke Palmer is going to be one of my interviews, right? And I was telling my wife, I was like, but you know, I'm from Decatur, but I spent a lot of time in LA. My wife's from LA, right?
Yeah.
So I understand LA. I was like, if Keke Palmer was my wife, I wouldn't care if she was singing with Usher. That comes with the territory. It just is what it is. It doesn't bother Russell with Sierra. It doesn't bother A$AP Rocky. You just have to understand Michelle. It just comes with the territory. You have to be able to move in that lane.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the man has to be secure. So part of it is being able to have a transparent conversation and say, hey, babe, marriage to me, this is a conversation our parents used to have. Marriage to me is more important than what the ring looks like. Can we have a real practical conversation about that? Right? We can always upgrade rings. Do you not see? We can when our income increases, we can always upgrade the ring. Hey, if this is about finances, I don't really want to have a wedding. Right? You don't have to pay for the wedding and the ring. Right? We can just do the ring and move forward. Does that make sense? What is it that has you hesitating on marriage? Let's have a real conversation about that. Matter of fact, the average couple is now doing something called the SYMBIS. SYMBIS, saving your marriage before it starts, right? And it's where you start talking about what the merger between two, use the 20-page report, talking about how you're aligned,
Wow.
right? And that report will bring out a lot. And so it allows men to be able to have structured conversations about relationships and marriage. So my advice to your friend would be not to just be silent, and not to challenge him, but to have a real conversation and for her to express what she needs. I would like to get married in the next year. How can we make that happen? All right, let's talk about all the finances. Let's talk about what it means. But to me, the commitment is more important than the finances. And if finances are an issue, when can we begin to have a practical conversation about those? And see, they don't see that. They don't see that with married couples. Married couples have that conversation. You don't think married couples are having that conversation right now in this administration with people being laid off, black men and black women being laid off, and being able to build wealth. Why can't we have that conversation while we're dating?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because you said something very important at the start of that answer, where you said that sometimes a man can ask himself, am I really ready to somewhat show up as a husband? Like, do I have what it takes to be married? Do you think there's anybody that shows up to a marriage from the psychology perspective, right? Or do you think there's anybody that shows up to a marriage that's particularly ready? Or do they kind of discover who they are in that marriage when it comes to oneness with someone else?
Well, both. Well, both. So there's a cheat code, right? So there's a researcher by the name of Dr. Carol Rusbelt that found that, okay, what makes marriage happy? Not just being married. Anyone can get married. And so men that come in with the mindset of mutual satisfaction, all right? Part of my job as a man is to make sure that we are both satisfied. I'm not supposed to just endure this, happy wife, happy life, right? And at the same time, this is not just about my wife serving me. This is where the church gets in trouble, right? We both have to have a mindset. Are we happy in this marriage together? Just like a restaurant, just like a business, service-based business. They're doing an evaluation each time. How can we make you happy? What can we do? All right, really quickly. I take a solo vacation for my birthday every year, right? Now it's at a couples resort, right? That's the rule, right? You eat by yourself? Yes, that explains my birthday. I've been so many times, But basically, when I go on this trip, I'm able to relax, able to chill, able to decompress. All right. So part of the agreement is I have to say what makes me happy. And because I'm always on, I get to decompress. When I come back, I'm happier, right? But then I also have to care about, okay, now that I'm back, you get to take your girl's trip. So that's mutual satisfaction. But make a long story short, I was there. They didn't have my room that I wanted, Jessica. And I said, this is not the room I had. And I didn't read. They said, you said it was supposed to be beachfront and it was beach adjacent or whatever, beach view. And so we had to negotiate. I had to pay more for the room and they gave me spa credits. I use that example was we had to be mutually satisfied. I had to get what I wanted. And then the hotel had to say, well, anyone can get this room, not just you. The fact that you looked at it wrong. So you're going to have to pay more and you'll be happier, but we'll also give you some spot credits. So in a marriage, that means that we're moving together. There is no one of us happier than the other. That's a problem. Number two, I come in ready to invest in my marriage.
Yes.
No longer is it just the wife that's coming up with the marriage retreats. The wife is doing things. I have to figure out how I'm investing in synonymously at the same time. All right. And then I have to be the best spouse for my spouse. All right. Now, one thing that your husband and I share in common is that we're both married to semi-athletes. All right. My wife does the ultra marathons and all that kind of stuff. Typical sales reps. And so that means that, when I met her, she was doing when she said she did fitness, I thought she was doing CrossFit. I didn't know she was doing bikini. I didn't know. I didn't ask the question, right?
Yeah.
And so when I was, when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is so, and I just started ministry school. I said, oh, this is so much. I'm gonna have to deal with so much. But this is my wife. I support my wife. She's gonna have to deal with the things that I want her to deal with. This is a stress. I like her. All right. And so what she does, I'm gonna support. Right. And she said this from Jump Street. And I don't think other men would have a problem with this.
Yeah.
All right. So I had to stretch and say, would a husband have a problem with his wife pursuing her passion that she had before you?
Yeah.
Or will he get in his feelings?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the time requirement, all of it.
For sure. And yeah, but I had to set it level set on Valentine's Day when she walked in with like some card and I said, babe, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I need you to be LeBron, not Kobe. But all that to say is that you have to shift. Right? When I went into ministry, I told her one day in advance. The Spirit led me that they had a meeting the next day. I said, babe, they want to meet with spouses about going into the ministry. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's tomorrow. How do you feel about it? And she was like, God had already told me that this was going to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen this soon.
Come on.
Give me the little, what do I have to wear? Like, do I have to be a minister? Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
But it was being the best spouse for your spouse. Now, if she would have said no, I couldn't have done it. Does that make sense? Right? But being aligned. So men that go in with that mindset.
Wait. I want to stay there real quick. You said if she said no, you couldn't have done it.
Well, one, it's not allowed. All right, because you're bringing in yourself into ministry and you don't have the support of your wife. Your first ministry is at home. Right? It's in the Bible. You can't be a deacon. You can't be an elder if your home life is not solid. It's just too easy to fall.
I get
it's
that.
already difficult anyway. All right, and then also just out of wisdom, right? She might see something I don't see, or this is not the time for that. And so a man that shows up with marriage with that mindset, which has not been taught.
Yeah.
So he's going in with a different, it's not about ruling.
Well, let me ask you this, because you've been married for, you said 13 years, right?
15.
15. I'm so sorry.
That's all
15
right.
years.
That's right.
Okay, so 15 years. At what point did you guys get into that oneness? Because I do think that people have the expectation that as soon as you get married, you are one. And biblically you are, but you have to learn how to be one also. And some people may like disagree with me on that, but I'm talking about like the practicality of growing together. My husband and I have learned each other in ways that have really stretched both of us, which we are walking. Obviously, God is in the middle of it all. So we have really grown on both sides of coming together as one. But I don't think necessarily at the moment in which we said, I do, we really understood the depth of that oneness. And I feel like that journey, it's a journey. It's not just like an instantaneous thing.
Well, one, I just want to be compassionate, is that I'm around really solid marriages in my family. So I had an advantage of seeing that.
Yeah.
Had I not seen that, I would not have had the same knowledge.
Okay.
Right. So I want that to be clear, is that exposure to great marriages and how we're supposed to be as men is not a skill set. It does not make one man better than the other.
Yeah.
He's just seen more. It's like a man that understands systems
better
than the other man that doesn't. So when I came around strong marriages, I saw that. I saw nothing but strong marriages.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one part of it.
Yeah.
The other part of it is you are going to be battle tested.
Yeah.
Here's the interesting thing. And we can talk faith. Here's what I'm excited about. The lowest divorce rate is not just believers. A believer does not stop you from getting a divorce. Being a believer who does the most amount of covenant activities, religious activities with his wife or husband does. Let me break that down. So couples who pray together, couples who fast together, couples who do devotionals together, worship together, serve God together, feed the homeless, ministry. Like the amount of
the oneness.
Think about how many times you are in covenant with Christ.
Yeah.
So think about 365 praying together.
Yeah.
Fasting.
Yeah.
What did you get out of today's sermon? Hey, what did you get from this devotional? What did God speak to you on? Hey, babe, two is better than one to get better return for the labor, but also plans fail due to lack of counsel. But with a multitude of advisors, they succeed. Your wife is your advisor.
Yeah.
Your husband is your advisor.
Yeah.
Husband and wives are talking about how to move around corporate America, entrepreneurship, so on and so forth. All right. And so if you're sitting down and you're having that conversation on a consistent basis, marriage becomes easier. But when you get into the businesses and you get into the children and you get to taking care of parents, you can be distant. And while your marriage is moving, but you're starting to move apart, all right? And the enemy's going to come in and attack those. He's going to attack the specific areas that are most vulnerable, right? So one, you have to be in a community of other married couples who are lifting you up. Two, you have to have your practices in place to where we're praying for one another. We also have outside counsel that supports one another. Right? So like for men in business, sometimes you can scare your wife. You can sit there and say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where this is going. And that might not be a conversation, right? For her, you might need to go talk to some other people, be like, look, man, I don't know where this is going to come from, and get wise counsel, and then come back and present a plan
to your wife.
To write. Same thing as a wife. Right. I want to be an R&B singer. She'll be like, oh, Lord, baby, right? But if I didn't talk to Keith Sweat and he's backing me, that could be a different thing, right? So it's levels to it, all right? So let me just make it plain. So one, men, we shouldn't lone wolf. So part of it, like when men are stressed out, that stress a lot of times is transferred to the wife and vice versa.
Yes.
So we can't just rely on ourselves. We have to rely on other strong men who and women who we respect to help keep us together. And then 2, we have to practice these things as a couple to keep us connected, and then pray about it, and then move together, and then you learn. We've learned each other. But the goal is to be able to have those tough conversations and to be able to transform quickly. See, married couples are actually more dissimilar than similar, right? 67% of the things that couples argue about never go away. Never go away. All right? A perpetual argument in my house is about rest. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna rest. My wife like, I'm gonna go hard. I'm like, all right, let's see how that works out for you, right? Constant, right? And my wife will talk to me about temperament, right? She was like, you could have said that differently. I'm saying it passionate. That's never gonna go away, right? But how quickly we're able and how well we're able to disagree and move on, that's the key.
The healing
of a great marriage.
Yeah.
Oh, this is how we predict divorce. Put a couple through a disagreement, watch them for 15 minutes. Psychologists can tell you with 90% accuracy who's going to divorce.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the work of Dr. Markman and Dr. John Gottman. And you can be on mute. You're really looking for the contempt in the faces. Are they disagreeing as friends, as lovers? Are they disagreeing as enemies? So when my wife is saying, "Hey,"
Yo, that's so deep.
So it's and see, this is what has to be taught. How do you disagree when you straight disagree?
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is public knowledge. One of our biggest disagreement was having another child. I was like, God didn't speak to me about that. And my wife was like, I'm having these vivid dreams of a boy. And I was like, I don't know how God's speaking to you over me. And I'm in ministry, but my wife is prayed up in the word, right? So I was like, I know. And my wife is not manipulative. My wife is seeing these things. And then my mentor said, I'm seeing a little boy. I was like, oh my goodness. And so I was like, man, I was on the other side of this fence because of time. I wanted more time with my wife. That was the key. I'm like, I want more time. This raising children is great, but I'm already fast forwarding. All right, another one.
And you got a 20-year-old to come in a 4-year-old.
And you're not ready. You gonna go. So I prayed about it. I said, Is your wife a believer? Yes. Do you believe that God lied to her? No. Do you believe that God can reveal things to her by having a baby he will reveal to you? Yes. Yes. All right, so I said, look.
Surrender.
I talked to my friends. I didn't surrender. I talked to my friends. I said, all right. I still didn't see it. I said, all right, babe, I'm going to give you 90 days. 90 days. Would you please drop this? Because it was coming up every month. Every month, like my wife is not loud. My wife is persistent.
Wow.
It's never going. It's like a bill collector. Like, how you want to do this? It ain't never gonna go away. We're gonna find 20 different ways. She's just gonna recalibrate. I tell you, she's Inglewood. She's just gonna come at you a different way. And so for like 3 years, baby, I just feel so sad. I just feel incomplete. I was like, just killing me. I said, all right, man. I'm gonna get this 90 days. Listen, I already work out, but I started working out like crazy. Right? So I said, no excuses. I don't want you to say anything. I took all the supplements. That's me. I started talking to the doctors, make sure my swimmers, what can I do? What's the timing? I do the timing, right? 90 days came and went, no child. All right. We were at Disney World, right? And she was in there crying. I know this is wrong, Jessica. I was on the bed like, yes, Lou, I knew it. I was like, but I got to be sensitive. I have to be sensitive to my wife, right? And so we went on It's a Small World.
Yeah.
And she threw up in the water.
Oh my
oldest
God.
daughter started laughing. I was like, oh no, God. Oh my
God.
And then she called her, yeah. But my wife is and this is, TMI, but she always shows late. With our middle daughter, she showed 3 months later. Just the pregnancy tests are not accurate for her, right? So anyway, what I'm saying is that the adjustment, the fact that we talked, I was like, I'm not anti another child. I'm anti our lifestyle.
And the timing.
I'm not into this whole go. Yeah. I would like for us to be more intentional and be able to see. I would like for you to be able to rest. I would like for me to be able to rest. And I would like for us to enjoy our lives. I don't want to just be on a hamster wheel. And so once we sat down and had that conversation, that business conversation about that, I was all in. See, that's battle tested. That is where you have to sit down and be like, how do we disagree? And the goal is, that's a whole nother conversation, but the goal is to feel you, not to agree with you. If I agree with you, we wouldn't have a disagreement.
Yeah.
I need to feel, why do you want to have this other child? Well, do I want my wife to feel incomplete? No. I would never want someone to do that to me. And then how do I feel? Do I want my husband to feel like he's spread thin and that he can't pursue what he believes God is calling him to do? All right. Do either one of us want to be terrible parents? No. So let's talk about how you feel, how I feel. And in that moment, God was able to reveal how we could move from a structure standpoint to be able to do this. We have a huge village
Wow.
that picks up from
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, of course.
We have a huge, I've had to change, and I am changing. I was telling your husband, I'm changing my business model to meet more people versus direct service, right? So you're constantly going to evolve. But if you can always focus on how we both feel me, get me,
Yeah.
and then act like you get me, then we
Yeah.
want to compromise. Because
Yeah.
the argument is usually about you not feeling me,
Yeah.
not me expecting you to agree with me.
Yeah.
That's only in toxic,
Yeah.
marriages where my word is final say so either way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So two things that I want to touch on real quick. I do want to get in your personal business real quick and ask, how did you respond when you finally found out? But then I want to get back to the conflict
Oh, yeah, you know what?
resolution too.
You know, it's funny, God speaks. Unfortunately, I went to a funeral of the patriarch of our family. He died at 102.
Oh, wow.
Right. And when he passed at the funeral, God was like, I'm revealing this to you now. Right.
Wow.
Like, your son is going to
Wow.
be a leader of leaders, a man of men, and I need you to be available for him. I need you to look and see. Our cousin that passed was named Johnny Cat. He was in Tuskegee Airmen. I need you to see the legacy. I need you to take this. I need you to be on duty, for your son.
Yeah.
Right. So I was at peace.
Yeah.
I was at peace.
When
and then
you
we just
found
started.
out,
Yeah, because I
because
was
God had
never,
already spoke
I
to
was
you.
never anti more
Yeah.
kids. It was the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And now that the lifestyle is shifting,
Yeah.
very excited. And then the boy looked just like me. And if people look on social media, they're gonna be like, and he looks like my wife too. He looks like my wife too, all right? But
Yeah.
he acts like me. So when I see him, I understand God's assignment for all three, of our children. And if I can just be transparent, my role. I used to think my role was primary as a psychologist and minister. My role is primary as their advisor. Because there's certain things that God has called all three of them that's going to require my hands-on attention.
Come on.
So
That's divine.
that is very
That is divine.
strong.
That's
I know.
divine insight.
So my wife knew more than I knew, even as a minister and a psychologist. The Reverend Doctor didn't know. All right. But this is something that was revealed to my wife 5 years before I saw it.
That's so important, man. It's so deep. It's so deep, even from not even just a biblical perspective, but just the knowingness of a man to know and to trust his wife for her wisdom.
Well, one, she earned that.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't want to, my brother's watching this. It hadn't always been a crystal stair.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when you get a great woman, please do not underestimate. They are not a dime a dozen. So because of who she is, she commands a certain amount, of respect.
Yeah.
Right. And the fact that she is diligent and that she comes from a praying family, her mama and everyone else in the family knew this, obviously, other than me. But yeah, she earned that.
Yeah.
So fellas, pick wisely. I just want to be clear. Pick wisely. It's not just being married. It's picking a virtuous woman.
Let me ask you, how can a woman discern in dating whether a man is unwilling to grow or if he's just not necessarily in the season where he has blossomed into who God has called him to be?
Oh, okay. This sounds complicated, but it's actually kind of easy. All right. So if we look at the research, the number one red or green flag for a man above everything else is influenceability. How influenceable is he? Okay. It's not where he is he willing to accept your influence? Not only your influence, but the influence of others. So the worst type of husband is a stubborn husband, not a resolute. You can be resolute that, no, I'm standing on this. I believe in this. I'm not going to change my mind. That's different. But a husband is stubborn that says, this is the way I am. This is the way I'm going to be. This is the way I'm forever going to be. That is not someone that typically makes for a great husband. So you're looking for someone who is influenceable. So here's how that looks with your friend. Hey, babe, I really want to get married within a year. All right. Now he needs to understand why. Is this pressure from your friends? That doesn't sway me. No, I really feel like this is starting to erode our relationship. Your hesitancy is making me hesitant about you and making me feel bad because I'm good enough to be a girlfriend but not be a wife. And you don't understand the stress of being around other women. And how long y'all been dating? And they look at the ring. You don't understand that world for me. And then me not having an end goal and not understanding it is tough. So a man is able to feel that and incorporate that into his world, right? That is a good husband because he cares about how you feel. Influence matters. So we're looking at his influence ability. So can she speak up, him hear it, and does his behavior change? That doesn't mean that he's a do-boy. That just means that you can tell that he's considered what you're saying. It is now part of his world and he's moving differently, right? Isn't that the essence of a relationship?
It's true.
That's both ways, but especially men, just due to misogyny and being trained in the wrong way, right? Men whose marriages work, their wife has influence. Now, the president of the United States might have to ask him, is it okay if I have a poker party over here tonight? I don't know what we have going on. I just want to make sure. That's not being henpecked. That's not being her wearing the pants. That's being considerate. That's just consideration. Hey, I think it's fine for me to go on this boys trip. Let me see what my wife has going on. It might be something I missed. I mean, she should be cool with it. Then let me run it by her.
Consideration.
Right? Consideration.
Yeah.
Hey, like, okay, so my tone, I feel my tone is fine, but you don't like my tone. All right. If I don't talk with my hands, which I do, is that better? Because I don't really care how I say it. I care how you receive it.
Come on.
I'm going to say what I need to say, but if the tone is wrong, right? Just like I say, fix your face, babe. That Inglewood, we always joke, Inglewood, Decatur. Inglewood, fix the face, get it right, because that face is triggering. We
oh my
right?
God. Why do I feel like you're talking to me and Michael right now? Because my face will say something and his tone will say something. And that is literally our main dynamic, 100%.
But are we influenceable?
Yeah,
see, do I care?
Absolutely.
Do
we care
about
100%.
your experience of me?
100%.
And do you care about my experience of you?
Yeah.
And if that can be the higher ground, we can do the work.
Yeah.
I'll tell her, let me go get on this elliptical before we talk.
Yeah.
Right? With her, I'm like,
the willingness to love each other enough to both make alterations on both sides.
Well, we also fear divorce.
Yeah.
All right. So we don't look at divorce as something magical, like it couldn't happen to us. Absolutely it can. And we know that same cycle, it's like plaque. Plaque doesn't just show up in one day, but that same type of argument over and over again, it begins to erode you. And then you start getting into like pre-arguments. Like we need to talk about what? Like, see, there you go with attitude. I don't have an attitude. I just ask you about what? And you'd be like, see, never mind. And you'd be like, no, go ahead and say what you have to say. Well, you know what? I'm gone. Well, go ahead and leave. All you do is run. See, I can't deal. We never even got into the issue, right? Because we've argued so many times, it's getting progressively worse. So we have to learn the skills and say, all right, how do we disagree, feel each other, and then move on to the next moment? You know how many couples would be married? That they could just get past that in the relationship phase.
The tool.
A lot of men and women be like, okay, because it's when we argue that makes it scary. I can leave you as a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but as marriage, I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah, of course.
So that's the thing. Look for influenceability. Men watching this, the strongest men. Talk to married men you respect. You like their household. There's a lot of married men.
Yep.
But you gotta watch, like, I like the way his household is run. I like the way they move. Let me get wise counsel for him versus figuring this thing out. You can learn so much. And I'm not just talking about a married man that's been married 30 years. There's men who've been married a year that can tell men who've been married 30 years how to adjust and adapt. You just want to get the wisdom.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy, but it can be so much easier if you just have the tools and the right mindset.
What are the top 3 tools that you feel like are needed for marriages to succeed?
One.
Communication. I feel like that's the main one, but outside of communication, give me
There's one bigger. The biggest issue that's breaking marriages apart is lack of time, lack of quality time.
Wow.
So you got married and you were dating, you were talking on the phone, you were picking up the phone at work. Michael picking up the phone in the middle of it. Hey, what you need? You know, and now I'm like, hey, babe, I'm working. What? Hey, can I help you? Right?
Yeah.
So the quality time,
Wow.
right? Quality time. It's called love mapping, right? And it's where I'm mapping away into your head and heart on a regular basis. So 15 minutes a day, no children, no taking care of parents, no working, no TV, just connect. 15, you know, y'all married
No
with kids.
phones.
15 minutes is a long time. It's a long time if you have a lot of stuff going on. But 15 minutes has to be our time,
Yeah.
right? So that's the first thing is quality time. And then I'm just, my wife fusses at me, right? Dating.
Yeah.
All right, date nights. Because I'm like, oh, why we have to do all this? Blah, 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 blah. Now I get there, I have a great time.
Yeah.
All right. So I was like, no, you have to kind of debo dating. No matter what I say, dating has to be prominent. I don't care what we have going on. So the first thing is quality time because couples drift apart and then they look up and the attention is coming from elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then you can be so apart, you don't even know how to connect anymore. How many times y'all been to dinner and you see couples on their phones? All they know how to talk about is the children or business or work. They've forgotten how to date.
Yeah.
That's like a muscle.
Yeah.
Just you get back in the gym, you're not gonna know how to box. Some stuff gonna come back,
Yeah.
but some stuff is gonna have to be muscle memory. You're gonna have to do it over and over again. So 1, quality time. 2, like you said, the communication. But the communication is 2 things. 1, it is fondness and admiration. Men absolutely love
To be admired.
you want to lose a man? Stop admiring him.
Yeah.
Stop admiring him, right? And it has to go both ways. So when you got him, oh, you're so smart. I can't believe what you built. Oh man, you make me feel so safe. All right, you that good mix of composed, but I know if someone run up on me, I know you beat them up.
Okay.
I just feel so, you a gentle giant. I just all these different things, right? So you say that, but then you get married, right? You overreacting. You're not gonna do anything, right? It's totally different. So admiration. So men do a lot of things for admiration. Hey, babe, I couldn't figure out my computer. Thank you for fixing it. Thank you for getting the car gassed up. Hey, thank you for my mom came over. I know that was a lot. Thank you for just always opening up the house. I know you kind of like the house to yourself, but thank you for admiring my dream. Thank you for being a man that can pivot. All right, so admiration, and that going both ways. And then the other one is, this is part of communication, but it is called turning towards. All right, turning towards is turning towards the conversation. All right, so you might come in and you say, hey, Michael, I want, something. Let me tell you about what happened with my girlfriends, right? And Michael, oh, here we go again, right? Him turning towards that conversation means a lot. Right? Because you want to talk about it. He may, I'm being stereotypical, right? He may want to say, oh man, this is the first time the Knicks going to, and he may want to talk to you about that. And you be like, I don't even know who plays, but he wants to have that conversation with you. Yeah. To be like, all right, why they call him Big Body Brunson, but he little? I don't get it. Well, help me. Those little things. So the 15 minutes a day, the admiration going both ways, all right? Yeah. And then turning towards one another's conversation, that actually sets you up to be able to resolve conflict, right? But if we want to go to the highest level, since we're talking about faith, it's actually being able to have a shared meaning. All right, this is what the Obamas have. The Obamas are on record of being challenged in their marriage. But do we really want to see the Obamas get a divorce?
Absolutely not.
All right, that's investment. They would lose so much getting a divorce, it makes them stick in there longer. All right, it would ruin the Obama brand. It would hurt Black America. It would please MAGA. It would destroy me. If Barack can't make this thing work, I ain't gonna even try. If Michelle can't make it, I ain't gonna even, it would hurt too much. And so when you start talking about shared value early on and legacy, it allows you to be able to operate from a legacy mode, just like a business. We can't afford to crumble. We can't afford. So we have to move in a way as if there's a lot on the line. We don't take it for granted. So yeah, we're going to take a weekend and do no work. Why? Because we're the main thing. It's not the kids. It's not the church. It's not the podcast. It's not the business. Because if we break, all that breaks. And all the people we employ break. All right, our kids have to be in different houses. That breaks. Our legacy online breaks. All right, we can't go to the same church because why would I go to the same church and look at another man sit next to you? That's just too much, right? All that breaks. So if you operate from that legacy standpoint and continue to build it as if it could break with your systems, marriage is going to be a lot easier.
Is waiting for marriage sometimes, can it be considered a season of stagnation opposed to sanctification?
You could be getting ready forever. I'm getting ready. I tell women if you haven't dated in 3 to 6 months, there's a problem. Men, if you haven't dated in 3 to 6 months, there's a problem. How are you going to get married if you can't date? Oh, I'm getting ready. Okay, cool. I get it. What are you working on? I don't know. I'm just getting ready. See, it becomes, it's a form of hesitancy. It's a form of avoiding trauma. It's not the fact that they don't want love. Like last time I loved and I went all the way in, what this brother did to me or what this sister did to me broke me down. I don't even want to be anything close to that, but I don't want to be alone. So let me be somewhere close where I can still have conversations, but have enough emotional distance that if things don't go well, I'm going to be fine. So they're operating from a position of fear and they don't realize it.
Yeah.
So one, it's doing the deep work or trauma work. Is he, him? Is she, her? Right? And you best know the difference.
Yeah.
Right? So start unpacking it. Start talking about it. If you're getting ready, let's talk to men. What's your self-discipline look like?
Come on.
What's your self-discipline look like? Do you have anyone in your corner who's helping you? Do you have practices for self-discipline? Do you know what type of man you are? Do you know the open door? Like, men need to have these conversations. And believe it or not, for a lot of men, that's not an issue. Their issues might be something else.
What is the open door?
So the open door could be, all right, oh, so a man has never had success. All right, he all of a sudden coming into money. The enemy's going to attack you at your highest and lowest. All right, who are you when money's no object? Who are you when people are coming to you for the first time and giving you attention? All right. Do you have a track record for being able to handle a sophisticated play for you that you can't see? All right. Is that affirmation for you? All right. If your business is down, where do you get affirmation from? How do you handle that? Are you used to a certain level of temptation? If you stay at home all day, that's different than you flying.
Yeah.
That's why I never say anything. Of course, some of our clients, but I never say anything negative about athletes and R&B singers. And being that where I used to be a consultant for the Oklahoma City Thunder, like their first psychologist to staff that position. And so I was with the team to be able to look and see, oh, this level of temptation, that's above what I could handle. Right? I would have to absolutely put some systems in place. Does that make sense?
Yeah. 100%.
Right? And so if you don't understand that, so do you work out, right, on a regular basis? Do you use the same form? Are you fasting? Are you praying? Have you set your environment up to know?
This is so good.
What's the Bible say about temptation? The only solution they give you is to flee. I'm
Yeah.
looking at the Bible. That's it. That's all you got.
Yeah.
That's how powerful it is. And so you'll start watching men. And you'll start watching men kind of sequester themselves. You'll watch men have handlers. We're not just talking about men. This is something that's affecting women. All right? Because what happens when you're the person in power? Men are also attracted to power. You will also have men coming to you because they need to do business. Right? And so if you may not be equipped for that. Right? Depending on your profession, depending on where you are, depending on the dynamics.
Yeah.
Depending on unresolved issues, like, okay, I can get this guy, but now that I'm in this position, and men, I never try to talk to me. You see this a lot of times when women lose weight, coming to prominence, like, I've never had this type of action, ever. This is on a new level. There's an adjustment that has to happen.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it's being able to talk. There are couples who have very candid conversations and being transparent. No, I can't travel that much. You got to come with me. Or hey, when I call and I say I feel a certain way, know that I'm saying I feel a certain way. Right? I'm at the edge. Or I realize, hey, we need to do something. Does that make sense?
That's
Without
a
being
lot
too
of
explicit, I
emotional,
just need to
yeah.
just straight.
That's a lot of emotional intelligence,
Right. Well, it's also couples have learned it on the back end.
emotional maturity.
Emotional maturity, but also wise counsel.
Yeah.
Right. So when you look at men asking them the question and then them giving you the answers, and there's a lot of men like, well, I would have never thought of that. I would never, ever, ever thought of that.
Yeah. Self-discipline is important. Self-discipline is important. So
Right.
let me ask you this, because there are a lot of women that say they will be soft. Okay. I know I'm transitioning a little bit, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of women that say they're willing to be soft. They're willing to be more submissive and all of these different things. This is kind of a little bit adverse to what a lot of men say, that women are extremely dominant, right? So when it comes to women and their ability to be soft, I feel like a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on women being more feminine. However, do you ever find that it's men that need to be held accountability for creating safe spaces for women to step into that submissive role?
Right. I think it goes both ways. I mean, you can have a man who is emotionally secure and saying how he feels, and then if a woman eviscerates him, emasculates him, he becomes hard, he shuts down, right? Because I open up to you about how I feel. You said I could talk about my feelings. I didn't have to be stoic. And if I say, hey, I'm not sure about this, and you'd be like, well, how you don't know? What kind of man doesn't? Okay, well, that's the last time we having that conversation.
Yeah.
So you just told me that it wasn't emotionally safe for me, right? So that's one thing. And then the other thing is that as men, women don't have a problem with submission. They have a visceral reaction to it because of how it's been used. But a man who thinks about his wife first, that's what women want.
Yeah.
That you already thought of me? All right. Maria Shriver just talked about that. Like, oh, hey, go to sleep. I don't know what's going on. He takes care of it. He's already considered me. He thinks of me. That's something I don't have to battle. I get a voice in my marriage, and I can say how I feel, and based upon what's the right answer, my husband's going to do that. Sometimes it's going to be what I say, sometimes what he says, but he hears me. So part of it is changing the roles, right? And so experienced wives have to talk to young women, young wives, about how to talk to their husbands in a respectful way that is soft yet direct, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. You actually don't want your husband to not have ego. You don't want him to lose the fact that he's the man. You don't want that. That's going to set off the security alarms in a woman, right? That he's not in charge. And that doesn't mean dominant, but you don't want that. But what you do want is you do want to have voice. And so there's a language in which seasoned wives have that new wives need to, inexperienced wives need to have. So it could be, I'm driving. She says, babe, I know where you're going. You gonna make that left, or are you gonna make that right? I was like, I was gonna make that right, but I can make that left. What you wanna do? Make a left? And she know I don't know where I'm going. I'm daydreaming. But she showed respect. Baby, I know you know where you're going. Are you gonna make that left or that right? Hey, babe, I know this is not my lane when it comes to business, all right? Something about this deal doesn't feel right to me, all right? I know you feel good about it, but I want to be the best support I can be. I don't want to be on the fence about it. Just for me, would you bring in another banker to double check these numbers?
Yeah.
Just for me?
Yeah.
Because my uncle did this and it didn't go well. And I know you're not my uncle, but just for me, for peace of mind.
Yeah.
All right? And I trust your moves.
Yeah.
Could you just get another person to just look this over for me? And she already know this doesn't look right. This doesn't smell right. I didn't read
But
the
she
room.
doesn't emasculate.
I'm not going to emasculate him. And he sees what you're doing. Because you're coming to me with respect, but you're telling me that influenceability, that just doesn't feel right to you. And the way you're talking to me.
Yeah. The approach.
As, you know, that I'm going to make the final decision. Right? That's all the respect I need. And then I'm going to come back and say, hey, babe, how do you feel about this?
Yeah.
Right? Because you respect me. You don't like this deal? Okay. All right. Well, then we'll just pause on this deal. I need to And I'll be honest, the average man is not going to listen at first, but then he's going to learn.
Actually, that was my next question. Was it always like that for you all?
Oh, no. So we sat down and we had a conversation. So like I said, we're based on talent. This is a lot of households. We base who's in charge is based on talent. Okay. So my wife is in sales. My wife can sell ice to an Eskimo. At any company, my wife going to be number one. Right. Period. Right. Glory be to God.
Okay.
Right?
Come on, Mrs. Tart.
Yeah, glory be to God. Right.
Okay.
So my wife can sell, and people like my wife. People like me. They love my wife. When I walk into a room, I just know that. All right, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
All right, so when we negotiate, she was like, "Baby, you should let me negotiate that." I was like, "Nah, I got it." She was like, "All right." I was like, "All right, negotiate it." So what you get? She was like, "They robbed you." I was like, "What?" She's like, what did you do?" I had this line I thought was so sophisticated. Well, let's just split the difference. She was like, "That is so elementary. They banked on you splitting the difference. They didn't. Did you even look at what they offered the other speaker?" And she was like, "I'm taking this over." I was like, "You can do better." All right. And then when she showed what they passed, saying, "I'm never negotiating again."
Yeah.
All right. Because my nature, I'm a psychologist. I'm a minister.
Yeah.
Anytime there's friction, I just don't have capacity. I have to stand in the gap from someone that doesn't want to be here anymore. Right. And I have to get into this back and forth. Right. And there are times in which I will leave my own table just for hassle. I don't want to hassle. Hassle for me. I don't even argue about it. She's like, "No." She to clean up. We're not doing that. So now when it comes to negotiations, people don't call me. Right? You asked about like a negotiating. My wife handles now that she's busy, I have to have an assistant that does that. Right? Shout out to you, Ruth. She does that. And even she gets more money. I'm like, why would I negotiate? She's better. Now when it comes to the kids, and my wife does play a role, but when it comes to their education, that's right in my wheelhouse. We up there doing science. I'm helping my daughter out. Like, I don't know if that's the right way to go on this particular paper. And she's gifted, so of course she's pushing back. Son is like, "Hey, brother, this is how you do that." So based on talent, that's how we negotiate, our household. But I had to lose a couple of deals. She had to, no, I'm going to be primary on education to realize what takes her 45 minutes could take me 10 minutes. Coming from an educational background.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Why are we doing this? Because of what the world thinks? Let's just figure out who's more talented. Like, if our kids are running Peachtree Road, she's a runner. I run, she runs.
Yeah.
Why would I be out there training them?
Yeah.
Cuffing and puffing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, now if they have to, being in ministry, if they have to, deliver the word, I'm prepping them.
Yeah.
Right? This is how we moving. No, that's
Yeah.
If I have to go to our daughter's dance practice, a little too saucy on that move, but you gotta do something to get out there.
Yeah. Everything runs off of talent.
Right.
Makes sense.
And availability and seasons. So this is my wife's season right now. I just want to talk to couples that have a lot going on. You can't both be in season at the same time. We made that mistake. I think I don't know where I was. I called her. I said, "Where are you?" And she says, I said, "I'm still in LA." I said, "Where are you?" She says, "I'm in LA." I said, "For what?" She's like, "Remember I told you?" And I'm notorious for not looking at the calendar back in the day. And I said, "Well, who with the kids?" She said, "I told you, blah, blah, blah. When are you leaving?" I was going to extend my flight. I didn't, what you, and I was like, "We're too busy."
Yeah.
We're literally too busy. And we both believe in raising our kids.
Yes.
That's great. We have two sets of grandparents and uncles and the aunties and so on and so forth. But so we had a little date.
Yeah.
Had a little date at the hotel. I was like, "Oh, well, come through then. We could have." But after that, I said, "Well, let's talk seasons." Right? So my season was last. My season is next. Her season is now.
Yeah.
All right. So that means that like she's been put in a leadership position.
That's so
and
good.
she has to move on that. So that means that all right now, I'm going to be able to handle what needs to be handled. But anything that comes up with the kids, they're calling me. Why would they call you and you in a whole nother state? What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Right? But then when my season is up and then I flow into the podcast, the interviews, the TV shows and so on and so forth, she's the one that's like, okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we have that. We literally talk. And if we both in season, we'd be like, well, what did God say? And, what's the numbers look like? Like, we are, the corporate climate has changed. You're not in a position to say no. I was like, okay, now this is clearly your season. It's not an option.
Yeah.
What they're telling you to do is not optional.
Yeah.
All right? Trust and believe. When I, wait, listen,
No, that's so good because
listen.
I think more than anything, what people can take from this is, well, really three things that I've even taken for my own personal marriage is one, obviously the communication, but also just understanding the strategy and the systems behind everything and how you guys move so effortlessly and trusting the wisdom that God imparts in you both to know which time is which and what is what. Not being in season is the same at the same time is one of the most powerful things I think you've said thus far.
Yeah, I mean, we've learned that. So I'm not going to say it was not without great effort. It was,
Yeah.
all right? But one of the things that God has clearly put into me, as a psychologist and a minister is one, you have to teach the practical application to dating
Yeah.
to get more couples in. But also with marriage, teach them the skills.
Yeah.
And so for me, and you all have to help me, coming out of the direct service model, because I'm helping them deeply, all
Yeah.
right? But there's 10,000,
Yes.
100,000 more
Yes.
people that
Yes.
need to see those skills in a way in which they
Yeah.
can receive it. So it's not the fact that we're great, it's the fact that we have access to the skills and can be able to practice them real time that worked and then translate that to believers and people of color because we do things a little bit differently.
For sure.
So but it's having a format. It'll work for all couples. Couples
Yeah.
that come in, they're like, oh, this is clearly better than what we were doing. Because now that I get her and she gets me, most people want to compromise
Yeah.
after that. I just didn't understand what the argument was about because we were talking thoughts. We weren't talking feelings. Like you don't care that your husband wants to go out to eat. He doesn't care that you want to stay home. But you do care that he feels like he needs a change of scenery. You do care that he does care that you feel tired and that you don't want to have to go out, especially being forward facing and have to put on a face. You might want some things that's more low key.
Understanding the depth opposed to the surface level.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting it.
Yeah.
Getting it. Like, okay, when we go out, we may not want to get dressed up, but then people are going to take pictures and it's just a new world. So just understand how I want to navigate things. When I say I want to travel a certain way, it's not the fact that I'm bougie. I just don't want to have to be on. I don't want to have to be forward facing. So I understand that when I go on vacation, this is why we're going to this spot and not this spot. Yeah, they provide almost the same thing, but this is more exclusive.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about cameras being out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Oh, okay, I get it. And I get, okay, so you want to do some things more low key. All right, so when we get back, you just go fishing and do X, Y, and Z or chill on the photographs on, on social media.
Yeah.
So y'all are able to understand what's happening.
And understand the dynamics.
We can move as one.
Yeah, of course. Let me ask you this, because I think in order to get to that place, right, there's a lot of, again, as I mentioned before, emotional maturity that takes place. And sometimes a person's trauma can prohibit them from really seeing themselves in relationships, in marriages, so that they remove this version of them so that they can walk into healing together, right? Do you feel like that?
When you start talking about being emotionally ready as a husband or wife, absolutely. So we're bringing our traumas and being compassionate. If you say, I'll give you a great example. This was a training couple, so I'm not putting anyone's business out there. So this is a couple that do training videos for us to train. And there was a military soldier, and he got into an argument with his wife. And she said, I'm gone, right? So he left and went back to the military barracks and got drunk, and the wife came, knocked on the door, and said, open this door, had him knock down the door, and he was with another woman, right? So he drank, he was with another woman, and that's what led him into counseling, and he was like, when they unpacked it, he was like, why did you do that? He said, because you said you were gone. And she was like, so because I said I'm gone, you just gonna go lay with your security blanket? He was like, yeah, I thought we were done. She was like, in 1 minute, he was like, yes, my father said he was gone, he never came back. When people in my life say they're gone, they're gone. So yes, was it wrong? Yes, are we still married? But when you said we were gone, all right, I figured it was over. And yes, I did use her. And I do feel bad about that. Yes, I did get drunk to numb my pain. So they got into an argument later on, training video. And she says, I'm sick of you, get out, right? He went to the barracks, got drunk. She went, knocked on his door, came over there, no woman. Said, why didn't you call? Your little security blanket. Same one you call. He was like, because you didn't say you were gone. I figured we were just fighting. Right? So when we start
Wow.
unpacking our traumas
Wow.
up front, we're able to show up as better people in the marriage or actually move like we had some trauma. Does that make sense?
100%.
So like early on, I shared with my wife, we got to arguing, and I'm the type, Jessica, that wants to make up like ASAP. I'm more Bobby and Whitney except high level, right? I want to get into I'm a psychologist. I want to get into the feelings right there outside the movies.
Yeah.
Can we do this in 3 minutes so we can move on, right?
Yeah.
My wife, I need time. The more you come at me, the more I need time to
Yes.
process this, right?
Yes.
Well, we got into an argument when we were dating, and it was like going on 2-3 days, right? Now, while time is calming her down, time is amping me up, right? I'm going nuts, right? I was like, oh, I know who will call me back. I know I can get some conversation. This is driving me nuts. And so I said, look, we're going to have to find something in the middle. I know you need space, but I need to resolve things.
Yeah.
The longer I go without resolution, the more I'm unraveling.
Yes.
All right. And the more you going with time, you may be coming together. This is not working for me. If we can have a set time that the sun doesn't go down. It's not just about 24 hours. That's really about saying, if we can have a set time to talk about this, I can sit in the gap of negativity. I'm very resilient. I just need to know that we're going to have resolution about this
Yes.
tomorrow, and I can focus.
Yeah.
But leaving it
Open. Yes.
Contaminates my day.
Yeah.
Right through my day, I'm
Yes.
thinking about this. I'm like, oh, she still didn't call. This is the devil pushing me further and further.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to meet in that moment.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the same thing,
And to have a conversation about reconciliation.
Right. And so her delay was about trauma as well.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to find something that works for both of us. So I would say anyone watching this who's married that feels like, hey, these traumas keep coming up when we disagree, why not address them? The best way to address trauma is to get distance from it. The only way to get distance from it is to be able to talk about it and to be able to heal from it, so that you're not taking your trauma and transferring that onto your husband or wife, boyfriend or girlfriend, or your family. All right? And then be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
So if I know certain things, see, we know certain things about one another, right? I'm not a tough guy by any stretch of the imagination of people watching this. I'm not.
Yeah.
But there is a point where once I'm done, right? And my wife will know that point, all right? Because I'm affable, I'm super gregarious,
Yeah.
I'm a psychologist, I'm a minister. There's still another side that
Yeah.
once it's done,
Decatur.
I don't even want to even speak on that to even come out. But my
Yeah.
wife will see it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And be able to say, hey, babe, let's go. I think we've debated enough. Or hey, babe. And so that's understanding. And of course I'm saying, no, I'm good. She's like, no, that look on your face, you're not fine. You're not good, right?
Yeah.
Or I can be getting into someone's business, right? Because I'm like, oh, for real, how'd that happen? She's trying to nudge me.
Because you're a psychologist.
No, but she's nudging me because she knows something about the couple I don't. Y'all should come to the retreat. No, I don't think it's a good time. No, you should come. Yeah. We can do all these rates, man. Don't even worry about it, man.
Is she tapping you on the side?
I'm like, baby. She's like, baby, they going through something. I'm like, oh, my bad. How do you miss? Did you not miss?
Yeah.
I'm totally off. So what I'm saying is that, being able to understand one another's shortcomings, but also deal with each other's traumas is necessary.
Yeah.
And it's actually, and it's going to sound weird, it's actually so liberating. So when I sit with couples, husband or wife or both, and they're able to talk about their traumas and they're able to cry, the strongest man is a vulnerable man. I don't know if men have been taught that.
Yeah.
But a man that's able to say, this hurt me, is stronger than a man that say, it did not. Because he has to be a cover. But a man that's able to say it is like, look, that hurt me. I don't know if I trust women. If I can't trust my mom, how am I going to trust my wife?
That's a fact.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. What did mom do? All right, well, how can you trust you? How is your wife different from your mom? Or how is your girlfriend different? You're going to have to clearly see that. What did mom do that made you disconnect and not trust? Why are you sabotaging relationships right when you get to the point of commitment? What is that about? Do you want to be driven by fear and trauma, or you want to be led by courage and strength? Which one do you want?
Absolutely.
All right, courage and strength. Then you need the courage and strength to be able to talk about what happened, because your emotions are going to know. Once you get to that emotional moment, and marriage is about emotion, it's going to come back out. Same thing with, women. What's going on? Why do you not want to listen to this brother? Because if I get so dependent upon him, all right, and then he takes advantage of it, and they all sound good at first. Everyone sounds good, all right? And then he puts me in that vulnerable position. I swore to myself I would never do that again. You're talking about trauma, right? And I can't tell you how many psychologists that see couples end up referring them out to do separate trauma work. It's not the fact that you two are fighting. It's your trauma. Are we saying that
And you
Christian
weren't
word,
even
the
hearing
demons?
somebody clearly. Come on, the demons.
Was underneath the demons.
I talked about that on another episode. It's the demons. You aren't even hearing me from me. You're hearing things through a filter and then putting it on me, and you aren't even actually receiving what it is that I'm saying. Absolutely.
Temperaments. I mean, I'm just, because I believe in being transparent for men. Now my gift is passion. No one has to amp me up. I'm gonna be good no matter what. I can be sleepy and amp up and be good to go. But I have to watch my facial expressions mostly.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I take supplements, I exercise. Exercise for me is a way to be able to be chill. And then even my clients know people come to me because they want results quickly.
Yeah.
All right. But how I handling them softly matters.
Yeah.
Especially with men.
Yeah.
No man wants to come to me and I judge him. Or I say, it has to be, okay, I understand. Either kind of work around the ego the same way as I get it. You got a lot of motion. You got a lot of different things. Things are different. How do you want to play this out? Okay, well, if that doesn't work, when would you change your mind about how you want to approach your wife? Now, I'm the psychologist, but that doesn't mean they agree, and nor should they. But it means your ability to be able to negotiate around that. But where have men and women been able to trust that?
Yeah.
Like they see the podcast, like no disrespect to Iyanla and Dr. Fields, but it's rough.
Yeah.
It's a rough intervention, all right? But there are interventions that are actually softer. Yeah. I don't mean soft, but they actually handle you as if this is sensitive.
Yeah.
And so to be able to get distance from that, to be able to be a man that's able to say, I'm not sure. Like, Victor Wembanyama is a great example. LeBron James is a great example. I used to work for the NBA for like 6 years. When they come out at the press conference, I'm embarrassed by the way I played. A leader's supposed to set the tone. When I came out, Victor Wembanyama said, I think I over-celebrated the last victory. And when I came in, I didn't set the tone for my team. And I apologize for that. And I'm going to do better. He's being vulnerable that I'm not great, I'm not Superman. Why? So that he can get on to the resolution. See, when you're vulnerable and you put it out, you have distance from it. It doesn't stay with you.
Yeah.
Right? You're a stronger man. Then you're able to problem solve. But when you act like something doesn't bother you, it affects your play because now you're out there trying to prove something.
That's so good.
I can just get it out, and when the ball comes in, they triple team me. Now I'm trying to prove to everyone that I'm the man when I can just say, hey, I failed.
Yeah.
I failed, and I'm sorry that I let the team down. This is going to be tough. I'm probably not going to do any interviews for this, but I just want to say this once.
Yeah.
And I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
And I'm going to learn from this. Vulnerability.
Yeah. So you just shifted my mind to something when you mentioned the word demon. So I kind of want to talk about something from more of a spiritual realm, right?
Okay,
because
okay.
obviously we are as human beings a tripod being, mind, body, and spirit. So since you work specifically with the mind from the psychology piece, but then also the spiritual realm in regards to being a minister, what holds, obviously, as children of God, we know what holds the most weight, right? But when somebody is trying to navigate life, sometimes it gets to a point, especially if somebody's in intense trauma or it's like they're not able to pray. Some people have gone through some deep stuff where they are not able to pray and their mind just starts to overwhelm them with thoughts and all of those things. What is the balance, and what are some practical ways in which people can navigate that?
Yeah. And that's why the load on ministers is so great. Like the burnout rate with ministers is at an all-time high because they're dealing with record number of mental health issues. This is where I feel like I'm equipped being in both worlds. Sometimes we over spiritualize depression with psychotic features. All right, we'll say that's a demon. No, that's depression with psychotic features. Treat the depression, the thought disorder will go away. The people they think are after them, the paranoia will go away. There's also demons that have nothing to do with treatment, right? They both exist, and you have to be able to handle those. All right, so one, being able to know what's what. Right, so you have to be able to put on the right armor. Bringing in a psychologist who's not in the ministry for spiritual warfare is not going to be effective. Right, having spiritual warfare over something that is medical is not going to be effective. You can pray over someone's broken leg. It's not going. I mean, Jesus can do anything. Jesus can heal. Let's just be practical. Miracles can happen. But if someone is bleeding out, you're not going to pray over them that the blood stops. You're going to send them to the ER. Right? So one, community. This is very interesting, right? When you look at the Bible, the devil operates in isolation. So when we look at the 10 leprous men, isn't it interesting? 10 men were hanging together in pain. That's interesting, right? Well, they had to. They were able to say, hey, you're in pain, I'm in pain. And then they cried out to God. So one, they were in community. That's the first thing. All right. Two, they cry out for help. They cry out for help. Right? And when they cry out for help, the right help comes, if that makes sense. And so what churches are doing is that they are employing more mental health practitioners who are also believers. They don't have to be ministers. I mean, we're talking about like 1-2%, right? That can also be able to recognize that, to surround the people who need that level of care, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times what we call our demons, a lot of times is untreated mental health issues within the church. And then you have to get someone who's equipped to be able to speak to those demons. See, it's like in medicine. You have specialties. Someone may come to me with an eating disorder. Well, I'm not the best doc for you. I can stabilize you until we can get you into someone that specializes in that. Well, there are people with different ministry gifts, right? You're going to need to get gifts of someone that can actually exorcise demons and then be able to have a system of care to be able to follow through, to be able to walk with you, to be able to have a place for those demons to go. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you can do more harm than good thinking that you are helping, and this is not your ministry gift.
Yeah.
This is where you have to bring in other people. And that's why the church is working together is stronger than any one church in isolation.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. We're going to wrap up soon, but I do have another question for you. Okay. When it comes to women and when it comes to men, oftentimes, especially when it comes to trauma, men expect grace for something that they could have done to a woman, right? They expect grace, but then when it comes to a woman, they just expect them to get over it.
We are the more sensitive beings. Heartbreak hurts us more than it does you. All right.
Is that proven?
I mean, yes.
How?
All right. So all right.
Because I feel like women
Go ahead.
can have heartbreak and immense pain.
For sure. But you'll date again. A man will have heartbreak and take out that heartbreak on 5 different women because one woman hurt him, because mom wasn't there. You see it with in the rap music, right? I trusted these girls not loyal. Trusted one in their whole life. When you unpack it, there'll be one person rejecting them. All right. So back then didn't want me. Now I'm hot, all on me. It'll be the rejection early on of elementary school, middle school, high school, first love. A boy's first love is secondary in importance to his relationship with his mom. All right. So if that first woman hurts him, she becomes all women, because what the nervous system is trying to do is protect you. Okay. From anyone who hurt you and anyone who fits the description. And so there are a lot of men, because we have not been taught to be vulnerable and be able to. So y'all will cry that relationship out. You'll talk to your girlfriends. You'll go get counseling. But when men have been hurt, they internalize it, and then they end up a lot of times taking that pain out on other women. When you get to like, why don't you trust? See how far, you know this, see how far back it goes. Ask any therapist, who has the deeper issues, men or women? And it's because men have not come in, they're coming in later. It's not that we're the weaker beings.
Yeah.
It's that young girl got therapy at 13, 17. Well, that man denied it or never had access to it until much older. So one, men are actually way more sensitive. Jessica, y'all will have divorce parties. When have you ever heard a man having a divorce party? It doesn't matter whose fault it is. He's in shame. He is distraught. He is broken. He is hurt. There are men right there that are in straight up love with women that say, I'll never do it again. Because of that one heartbreak, they're in love with a whole blessing. And they're like, nah, that pain is overriding this commitment. It's not about love. It's about I can't be hurt. And these can be the strongest men. They deem the strongest men because they haven't dealt with that trauma. Meanwhile, that woman can just move on because she's going through the emotions. She's going through the healing process and she's showing up healed. Meanwhile, he's still unhealed, but showing up like a wounded warrior. But men are not going to be alone. Okay, so I'm wounded. Last 2 women I've dated left me, right? For reasons that leave me insecure, right? They left for either better men or they just left when the chips went down or whatever. And then I'm supposed to trust this 3rd woman? Nah, I'm not trying to do that. So I'm just going to be as close to a relationship as I can, string it along as long as I can, not because I'm manipulative, but because I'm afraid of being hurt. And they haven't addressed that. And that's what happens a lot of times in premarital. And then once men are able to be vulnerable about that hurt, then they're able to move on from it.
Unresolved pain affects the ability for healthy love.
But where is this modeled for men? This is where, God spoke to me in being more compassionate, just in my language towards men. Not that I wasn't, but now I realize that I'm in a unique situation. I see healed men every day. I come from a 2-parent household. My parents are still together to this day, right? And so it's important that men see healing as something that is manly.
Yeah.
In the Bible, David, look at Psalms. It was nothing but a book of laments. Tell me someone more manly than David as far as a warrior, right? He killed, Saul killed 1,000. David killed 10,000 over and over again. Well, first of all, David was vulnerable. How long, Lord? I want to speak to the men right now watching this. You said I was a king. You promised me provisions. You promised me elevation. You promised this to me in a dream. I believe I'm waiting for this. It was promised to me, right? But how long? But I'm being treated as the least. My brothers are out there facing Goliath, but I'm the king of Israel, sitting back here. I'm the only one with some donkeys and some sheep in the field by myself. How long? Could you just send one? Is it just, he said, Lord, can you send one? Just one person to the rescue. And then when they sent him to deliver food to his brothers. But then, God was able to show him. That's why I had you in the field by yourself so you could kill Goliath. Yeah. But men need to see that David was vulnerable. When we train athletes, because I'm doing this on purpose. Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. First thing we teach them is you want mental toughness because you're gonna come in like Oklahoma City. We're gonna bring you in. You think you're great, but we already know in practice you're gonna get dominated, right? You're gonna be challenged. You're gonna sit on the bench. Your turn might not be for 2, might bring you in for 2 years, right? To play into, you're gonna sit and watch. You're gonna be in a suit just like this, sitting on the bench. Yeah. You don't even practice. Mm-hmm. If you're 14, 15 men, you don't even get any run, especially on a veteran team. Mm-hmm. That's demoralizing, right? But we want to see how gritty you are. We want to see how resilient you are. Because one day someone gets hurt or we want to see what the Rook's going to do or things have changed or whatever the case may be, you have to be ready. Well, you have to be vulnerable to be able to say, man, here I am, an All-American at Duke, sitting on the bench. I'm going out and people don't even know my name, right? They ran the offense around me at Duke and here I am sitting behind LeBron, never gonna play. Mm-hmm. All right, I might be better, but this is Vince Carter's last year, and this his tour. So you have to respect the veterans. What am I gonna do sitting up here and not getting any playing time? That hurts. So I have to be able to talk about that. Why? So that I can go to practice, problem solve, and figure out how to be better.
What is the most prominent though, the lack of vulnerability or the lack of awareness? Because
I
I
would
think
say,
some men don't even know that they need to be vulnerable because they don't even understand the depth of the trauma that they're dealing with.
right, they may not, but also men taught to be stoic. So if you're going to hurt me, the only defense I have is you can't hurt a feeling I no longer have. So just as we get back into it, I know you're going to eviscerate me. You can tell my language, I'm already steeled up right now. Whatever you say
Yeah.
is going to go up, one, down. I'm not going to feel it. It's going to be a duck off my back because I'm ready for your attack. I'm no longer vulnerable because I already know that you are the enemy. You're in my house, but you're the enemy. So this is not going to bother me. All right. So that's one. And that is a defense mechanism of men. If you're going to come, man, I can't say I'm scared. If your husband and I get into it, even though he's considerably bigger, I can't show fear. I have to be smart because then that's going to make me easy pickings. I at least need to make him think, man, this brother holding something. He talking crazy, right? I need to do something, right? That's stoicism,
Yeah.
right? That's stoicism and the level of respect. So one, it's modern day men, you get to be flexible. Be stoic when it's time to be in competition. If I'm presenting a business proposal, I can't say, wow, man, that proposal way better than mine. Or I'm intimidated walking into Essence with this corporate levels. I'm intimidated. I am intimidated asking Nike to give me 200. I can't show that. I have to be able to walk into that room and act like I've been there and commanded, right? Like when I preach, and sometimes they have me in rooms. I'm like, why you have me on the same stage as the Bishop Brown? Did y'all look at the video? I'm gonna have to come in my different style, but I don't have time. God has called me there. I have to be able to be stoic to be able to command the territory.
Yeah.
But then there are other times I have to be vulnerable. See, that same stoic man coming home, my wife is telling me how she feels, and I'm like, okay, you done? I don't feel anything. That man's gonna crash. I sit down and talk to my 9-year-old about me doing too much, which is Dad, you be doing too much at the birthday party. I was trying to get a hype. It was embarrassing. I was like, you're doing too much, right? My son, I'm watching the tone. What's the line between discipline and also giving him grace? I want to be great, so I have to. Then I've talked to oldest daughter and realized that she is as smart, if not smarter than I am. How do I offer her wise counsel without making it seem like daddy knows best? I'm having to be in these different worlds.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I'm
Yeah.
have to walk into a ministry room. I'm not the ministry lead,
Yeah.
right? She's dictating the play. I said intentionally as a woman, right? Woman is that's a whole other conversation, right? She's my ministry lead, right? God has spoken to her, right? I have to be able to respond to that in a way. So if I'm not able to shift skill sets, then I'm not the strongest man. And so the only way to do that is to be vulnerable.
What are some ways that men can practice vulnerability? I know that might seem like a simple question, but some people will put it on a woman and say she needs to provide a safe environment.
True. That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Why would you open up someone who's not safe?
Yeah.
All right. So one, it's a book called Safe People by Dr. Henry Cloud. And so first of all, you have to read people. Are they safe or unsafe? Just like anyone goes to the airport, but you can't get in it. You go through TSA. So what I say is don't be closed. This is for men and women, but especially my brothers. Don't be closed and say, I'm not going to let anyone in because you're going to be lonely. And then that loneliness leads to all types of things. Okay. Be strong enough to say, all right, I'm going to open up to people who are safe. And for men, a lot of times that's men's ministry. Right? They're able to see men be vulnerable, and then there are men whose eyes watch and see how do the other men handle this brother being vulnerable. And when he's handled with care, and their brother's just like, bro, you might think we have it figured out. I'm going through the same thing. I'm having to pivot too. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I have no idea. I know the right thing, and then I've done it wrong 3 times in a row. But yet I'm back here, right, trying to figure this thing out. We just can't quit. And you'd be like, oh, I didn't know men talk like that. Does that make sense? And then being able to have the gift of a wife who's a safe space. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying being his therapist, 'cause that can be a heavy load, but this is a man who already has wise counsel, but he's able to come in and say, babe, I'm not sure about what direction. I don't know how to move after the loss of my mom. I don't know how to deal with this relationship with the mother of my children before you. And I just feel pulled in 2 directions, and I don't know how to handle it. And I don't want to take that out on you, but it is vexing me. Right? And I don't know how to move. This is a very important decision for me. See, that's a luxury. What we do is actually trick men. How many of you would feel it's wrong that you can't even be human? You can't even say how you feel. You have to act like you have no feelings. And all this stuff is playing out in your space. You can't even talk about how you feel? How many of y'all feel that's wrong? Yeah, that's wrong. All right, so today we're going to talk about it. Let's talk about what's happening, right? And then we can go into it. And so once men have permission and they see there's a strength and vulnerability. So I'll give you a scenario. Say my wife gets a huge boatload of cash, right? Not cash, but just bringing it in. I'm the kind of man, I'm just gonna be transparent. I'm cool with you making more, but not that much more. I'm just being honest. I'm like, wait a minute, this is affecting me, right? My challenge is gonna be like, all right, how do I level up so that that's not an issue for her? And if I'm being real, it is an issue for me. Should it be? That's an internal self-aware conversation, right? But let's just say it is. All right, God, is this the devil or is this you? What are you asking me to do? All right. And so he's asking me to elevate. All right. Do you realize how difficult that is to negotiate hearing my wife doing well if I have not worked this out on my own and then also talk to my wife about it? And this is modern marriage. People are up and down. There are people who are making boatload of money. They were head of CDC. Well, CDC is, gone. You were in government, gone. You were in business and you needed import and export tariffs. That business is gone, right? You have to be able to negotiate that. And so you're able to say, hey, listen, I need to be able to figure out what's going on with me. I need to be able to figure out how to support her in this season. I need to be able to figure out how to be a great man. And I need these businesses to be able to work. And that's a lot of pressure. So I need to figure this out and I need to work this out. All right. Then I'm able to come home and be a great husband.
Yeah.
But without that, it's impossible.
Yeah.
I just want to be real world. And that goes both ways on the reverse. I was telling your husband, it's a gift to be able to have children, but it's not something that's guaranteed to all women. But a lot of times your womanhood is tied to your ability to produce life. Okay. Can you imagine a woman that's dealing with, a miscarriage, a woman that's dealing with difficulty getting pregnant, right? And her not menopause, perimenopause, not taking that on her husband, right? It's just difficult, right? You need community, but being able to be vulnerable about that, all right, allows you to be able to show up as a better person in your marriage.
Yeah.
So the first tool is showing up. Do I come home in a way that's a value add? All right. And if life is tough, how do I negotiate that? Who am I talking with? And that's why I say, you may not believe it, but men are in counseling more than you think. It's just how it's marketed. I don't ever say therapy. People call me a therapist. I don't, right? My title is clinical psychologist, but I'll say I'm an advisor. We respect people with...
That's deep.
Yeah, we respect people that have a large entourage. This is how I talk to men. They have many advisors. You have a wealth advisor, you have a fitness advisor, you have an insurance advisor, you have a medical advisor. Who are you to go through life, have stress, and not get wise counsel? Because at the end of the day, you're responsible for your decisions. You're responsible for your marriage. You're responsible as to whether it works. And you want to figure that out on your own? And you do not have a good model as a dad, or your dad's not here? Why wouldn't you go get wise counsel with someone who's not going to talk, who's not going to judge you, who will pray with you, who can advise you, who's been there? At the end of the day, you're going to have to make your own decision. We don't tell you what to do. We don't have the power. No, we do. We want that. But you do need to figure out how you're going to handle this season in your life.
To navigate. Right.
Your wife is cool. She understands the ups and downs. It's you that's having a problem with being down because that's changed your identity, right? Or that's you that's struggling being up, right? Because this is a new territory.
Yeah.
All right? Or that's you that's navigating an empty nest for the first time, or injury, or medical issues,
right?
Or that your health is affected. Right. So go get wise counsel on how to handle it. It's a gift. Right. And that way when you show up advised.
Yeah.
What if I'm talking to me, what man of prominence doesn't have a board? President has a cabinet, pastor has a board of trustees, CEO has a board of directors.
Absolutely.
How do you not get a board of directors on your life? of
Absolutely.
men and women. I'm a proponent of asking women for advice. If I want to talk to my wife, I'm going to talk to her mom. I'm going to talk to other women. I'm trying to talk to South Central. That's why I call it South Central Inglewood. She's not hearing me. Where am I coming across wrong? And like,
Yeah.
outline. If you look like how you, I'm just venting. All right, this is how we going to come at it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Strategy. I told you one of the number one things that I have gotten from this entire interview is strategy. How you approach things.
And so it's not handling it alone.
Yeah.
Like that, like the story I told you, earlier about her being a bikini fitness competitor. Now, privately, I'm so okay with that. I am not traditional, right?
Yeah.
But it was the public piece of it, and she posts all on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And so I call my friends. Right? This is what I call my friends. I said, I think I'm tripping, but I said I never ever gonna stop someone's dream. I'm not gonna be that guy, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I call my friends whose wives are in the industry as far as just training. I said, bro, how do you get over? I don't have a problem with what she's doing. I'm totally okay with that. I have a problem with it being all on social media, right? I don't want to have that problem. Tell me how you. And they were like, brother, do you know how many of our brothers would beg for this problem? You calling me about your wife being in a bikini, and I can't get my wife to go to the gym. You people look at your wife and say, "Ooh, This is what you want, brother." So work on work on pacing, like where she can be in season and off season.
Yeah.
Right. Work on that because when you do ministry, is she not, when they call and ask for your wife, does she not take off work? Just sit there sometimes with no role because they want the wife to be in place? All right. So you have to navigate that, brother. This is different. Hearing other men see that in high positions.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That was enough for me.
Yeah.
But I had the strategy. And funny thing is, at her first competition, her dad came in and sat next to me. I was like, oh, this is so weird. This is so weird. I'm sitting next to her dad. And she comes out, I don't know whether to look or not look, but if I don't look, this is how my head is. If I don't look like I'm not in the
supporting her.
supportive, like I'm salty. And then if I look, I'm like, this is weird. Anyway, and she goes across and she wins. And he says, I hooked you up, didn't I, boy? We had the same birthday. But that to me, that was a God moment that he was saying, hey,
affirming.
My daughter's a woman of substance. This is the thing she likes to do. She's from Cali. This is part of the culture. She's been doing this from knee-high pageants, knee-high up to and this is, sales. This is their personality, always going to that 1%, workout. You got to be okay with that. But being able to see that and navigate that.
Yeah.
Right? Like I saw Wendell Carter at Angel Reese's game at the Dream. Right? He's an NBA athlete sitting front row. And they were calling him Mr. Angel, Mr. Reese, not Mr. Carter. Right? But it did not affect him because he understands this is the world that I'm in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I'd rather be secure in my position than allow the world to mess with my insecurity because I'm with a woman of talent and substance.
Absolutely.
That's the message that I want people to be able to get.
Yeah.
Barack was clear. When he went to Iowa really quickly, they ain't like him. In the very beginning, they did not want Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah.
And so the political consultant said, we're going to send Michelle to meet with these white women, right, with some clout. And they love Michelle. And then because they love Michelle, they vouched for Barack. And that's the first time he started winning. So he saw the value of his wife. But they have this joke at dinner. Her ex-boyfriend was there. Her ex-boyfriend was there. And he came over and said, nice to meet you, Mr. President. And Barack, showed him respect. And then Barack leaned over and said, aren't you glad you married the President of the United States? And then Michelle joked, he'd be President of the United States if I married him.
And that's why I love Michelle.
Yeah. But there are men, I just want to represent, and I know, I already know what the comment's going to be, but I just want to represent that there are a lot of men, the majority of men who are secure are more than happy for their wives to be great. Because they never want to be the man that says your shine gets in the way of mine.
Yep. Or dimmed her light.
I will
Yeah.
adjust. I'm never going to be a man that dims my, why would I do that for my, that's like dimming your daughter's light, your
Yeah.
son's light. You want them to be
Yeah.
great, operate in her calling. I want to be secure enough to handle that. And so
Absolutely.
that's what the world is creating, men being able to shift with the dynamics to be able to handle that.
Absolutely.
And I hope that the men that are
Absolutely.
watching this are commenting and say, yeah, that's my household. My wife is a whole MD, and I graduated with a college degree and didn't even have one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And we were making this thing work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't have any problem with that. Why would I tell her not to be?
I love that. I love that so much. I love that. All right. So next time, okay, we do
Okay,
an
all right.
episode. Your wife definitely has to join you because you've spoken so highly of her. And I know that she is just a wonderful woman. Yes.
I'll be glad. We're glad. We do it all the time. So I'm excited. Then you'll see the true dynamics.
Of course, of course. Is there anything else that you would like to leave with the audience?
Yeah, so when we start talking about dating, I'm very practical. In the church, people are like, oh, I don't know how to date. All right, the ring formula. I walk women through it. I want how to position yourself, how to work a room, how to move towards commitment, opening up your mind as far as open dating. Like there's different social norms. And to move from where you are right now to dating and then to being a mate. And so that's something I walk them through. And I'm also starting a community called the Transforming Circle.
Okay.
All right. Transforming Circle is going to be the intersection of mental health and faith. So faith without works is dead. And that is launching very soon. So y'all check out transformingcircle.com because I believe that believers should be the best at dating,
Absolutely.
marriage, and mental health.
I love that.
We shouldn't be last. We
Yeah.
should be first. And so that is me creating those platforms to be able to teach. And then we also have a retreat coming up called A Weekend for Love, aweekendforlove.com. Now, before people go to their website,
Yeah.
it is a premier, all right, it's a luxury marriage retreat. 'Cause sometimes you think church, you look at all right, it is a luxury marriage retreat, right, by request. People wanted, they wanted this. And so check that out. That's happening at the latter part of this year. And it's a place where you can go be around other couples and be able to grow and build in community. Not only work on your marriage, but also building legacy.
Absolutely.
for
I
love.
love that. I love that. I love that. Okay, so let's go back to the ring formula real quick. So in that, how can they sign up to be a part for you to walk them through?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, just go to ringformula.com.
Okay.
All right. And then we take it from there.
Okay.
And we have women from 25 and up to 60.
I love that.
Right?
I love
because
that.
I'm an officiant. Older women are getting married far greater than people realize.
I love that.
Right,
I
for a lot
love
of different
that
reasons.
so
So we meet women where they are
Yeah.
and be able to, because this is where being a man and being married and then, working alongside my wife, we're able to give content that a lot of people are not able to give. And
Yeah.
me being a psychologist, figuring out what the stuck point is.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, oh, that makes sense, but I'm positioned. I don't want to feel like
Yeah.
I'm looking. All right, this is how you do it.
Yeah. Of course.
All right, I'm making the first move. Oh, all right, once I get into it, all right, what do I say on the first phone call? All right, or how do I deal with the man? What do I say?
Yeah.
He asked me what I do. Does I invite him to my house? That's where the goal comes in, being able to work with them, walk them through.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. So I'm going to make sure, you guys, that I put all of the descriptions and all of the websites in the link below. So make sure you guys check it out. I want to thank you so much, Dr. Tart, for joining me. It has truly been just a wonderful, insightful conversation about from the spiritual, emotional, the psychological perspective of all of this. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And to the wholeheartedly initiated family, I'm excited, thankful, and humbled to be able to share this information.
Absolutely.
And build marriages up, dating and marriage, what it's all about.
Yes.
I'm excited about it.
Of course, of course. All right, guys, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share the video. And as always, stay initiated.